Hello, everybody, and welcome to Respect the Line, episode 3. Still no music, though we did get some musical suggestions out there from the last episode, so appreciate that. You got Matt Taylor, Matthew, and co-host Danny Catullo. We are Respect the Line. We talk about bocce, we talk about game strategy, we talk about the personalities behind the game that we love. And today's episode, I think, is going to be a lot of fun for some people and maybe not so much fun for others. I got Matthew Taylor's top 10 list. So, Matt, I asked you to do some homework, put together some lists, and you texted me today and said, I don't want to wait any longer. Let's put them out. And you have some rankings to unveil.
Yeah, listen, this was miserable, okay? Not only that, I didn't have a list. I wish I did this and had a list of all the bocce players in the world. I did not, so I had to literally go back in my memory, think of a lot of the teams that I played. So a lot of my picks I went with teams that we faced a lot, players I faced a lot throughout the year. So I want to put a caveat on this is I did do a top 10. I did a top 10 shooters, pure first shooters, top 10 second shooters, top 10 one rollers, and top 10 second rollers. I also added in there honorable mentions for some people, and the reason I did that was because I feel like at any point these are the players that would be in the list based on like performance on the next tournament or easily could jump any one of the players in there. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned them. And then I also did a top 10 of like period best players in bocce, in my opinion. Rolling, shooting, it doesn't matter.
So some caveats. You said these are players that you've played against, right? So that you've had to play against them.
A lot of yes.
Yep. There's not a player on here that you haven't played against. So if you've not played against them, there's potential they're not on the list. And then
no, that's not true. There's a few guys in here that I haven't played against that I have on here, I would assume. I just mean like pulling from my personal experience this year, guys I've seen a lot of, because naturally you're going to go to like teams or individuals that you see late in tournaments, right? That's kind of how I went with it. But there's also guys that we don't see a lot of that also need to be mentioned and listed. And if they were playing a lot, we'd see a lot of them. So I had to keep all that in mind when doing this list. Again, I did rank them based on who I would have preferred to play. Like if I was a tournament tomorrow, who I would place. But this list is going to be very fluid, as Stephen A. Smith likes to say in ESPN when he does his top 5 NFL. It's very fluid. But this is where I'm at right now, in my opinion. Love it or hate it, don't really care. But it's how it's going to go. So, yeah, if you guys are ready, I'm ready to go after it.
Yeah, so,
I'm eager to hear how you feel.
Here's the way I'm going to approach this. So I'm going to ask you for maybe some clarification. I'm probably going to give a little bit of color if I've seen that player play. Most likely I have. I'm going to be quite honest with you. I've probably seen him play or played against them. So I'll probably add a little bit of color there. And then at the end, I'm going to let you know some players that come off the top of my head, because I have not seen this list of yours come off my head and think that you.
Are we live right now?
Them. Yeah, we're live.
Are we live? Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Right here.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So
beautiful.
Let us know what you think in the comments down in Spotify. We appreciate it. And also just let Matt know about who he forgot on Facebook, because he's going to want to hear it. Let's bring him out, Matt. Let's start.
Sure. All right. Who do you want to start with? What do you want to start with first? Shooters or rollers?
We always start with rolling, buddy. Rolling wins championships.
Rollers.
Rolling.
Okay.
Rolling is how you start off the game.
Right. So this one's simple for me. I mean, this should be a no-brainer. I feel like Sean New's the best roller in bocce. He's number one. You can argue it's close, might not be. I don't know, but he's number one. Number two, this was a little tough for me because I didn't know how to place him, but I put Pete Melorano in there as a lead roller, so I have him number 2. I have Matt Estes at number 3.
I just want to throw out people's location. So Sean New is from Koppel, where you're from.
Koppel, PA, correct.
Koppel, PA, and then Pete Mel is from Cleveland. Yeah,
correct. Matt Estes from the Youngstown area.
Ooh.
Yeah. I got Matt Estes 3. Listen, you can't argue with wins, and I'm going to tell you right now, he's one of the few guys this year that went toe to toe with me and or beat me. He got me a few times in a couple tournaments this year, so I got to give him his love. Nick Serra, I have at number 4 from New York. I played against him a couple times this year. He's a dog. I have him up there. I have Russ Miraglio at number 5. Also won a few tournaments this year. He's from Cleveland. And then I'm going to Chris Federico, number 6. Also another fan favorite of mine. He's one of my favorite players and people in bocce. So like just on that merit alone, he's going to be up there. But I think he's a hell of a lead roller. Next I went Sergio DeFranco. He beat us in Rome, so he gets the nod. I put him at number 7. I'm putting Dom Aveni at number 8. Sure, some people can argue he hasn't had the best year this year, but when it comes to pure lead rollers, Dom's one of the best. He has been one of the best. He's on that top 10. This one might surprise some people. I actually don't know his last name. I kind of forgot to look it up. I played against him twice this year. Once was in Lockport in the championship. Mason. He's out from that way, New York.
Yeah, Mason Harrison.
Him. I have him at number 9. I struggled with some of these individuals.
So good in Lockport.
He plays good every time I see him.
He was the reason why they murdered us there in Lockport.
Yeah,
and we were we were feeling really good about our team, really good about ourselves until we played against them, and then we're Mason's that much better than us today. He just,
Mason's a dog. Listen, he could easily be up there in the top 5. I just don't see enough of him, and that was some of my struggle with some of these players we're going to talk about. If some of them don't play as much as we do, it's hard for me to give the nod to somebody that doesn't play as much, even though I know they're really good. But he was so good, and the few times I've seen him play, he's up there in my opinion. I think it's going to be hard for people to argue that one. And then what was that? Is that 9th? That was the 9th pick.
9, yeah.
My number 10 might be a surprise to people too. It's going to be Dante Micheletti. I got young Dante Micheletti in my top 10 pure lead rollers. I was going back and forth, and I'm gonna give so that's my top 10. I have an honorable mention.
Before you don't get to slide off the top 10. I gotta dissect these a little
bit.
Okay,
go ahead.
So
well, hold on though, because I know you want to question some of these things. Yeah. I want to mention my honorable mention, and I want to mention these guys here. I think there's 6 of them.
Well,
any one of these guys.
You're going to mention everybody.
No. What I'm saying is,
I want to talk to you first about this top 10.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Before you even get it, and I'm going to get into each every one of these players. And you
listen, I'm the one running. You don't. All right, that's fine, Dan. You want to bully me? You want to bully me today? That's cool. Yeah,
who are the jerseys behind you?
They're the goats, dude. They're the 3 goats,
right?
We got Kanish, Brady, Jordan, and we got Joker.
Okay, and what do you think you are? You think you're a goat?
Do I think I'm a goat?
Yeah, you tell me.
I'm not answering that question.
Do you think you're a goat? Do you think you're a dog?
At what? A goat at what?
Yeah, rolling.
Oh, you're talking about rolling.
You're a lead roller. You play on one of the most popular teams that we have in our circuit. You win a lot of games, and you consider yourself a dog, and you have the goats in the background, and you tell me about how great you are, and I know how great you are. Why aren't you on this top 10? When did all of a sudden, now you want to be humble? Today, there's humility. What's going on there?
Well, I have a couple answers.
Do you truly feel like you're not a top 10 roller in bocce? Is that true? Tell me. Talk to me.
I have a couple answers to that. One, I don't need a ranking to tell me how good I am, if I am good. Second off, it's pretty lame if I rank myself. Okay? This shouldn't be about me. This is about all the other players that play. If people want to comment and put me in a certain spot on there, by all means, that's what you can do. I am not going to put myself on any of these lists. So that's my opinion.
Here's how I feel about your top 10, and I want to talk about you and probably where I put you. And I'm not going to talk about like my 10, 1 through 10. I'm just going to talk about what I feel like is great rollers and who should be part of the conversation. I have the much easier job than you do.
Sure.
So Sean's kicked my ass. Pete, Matt, Russ, Reglio, Nick Serra, Chris Federico, Sergio, Tom Aveni, Mason. All of those players have
And Dante.
definitely winning records against me. I don't know if Dante has a winning record. I don't know if I played against him enough where he's been on the other side. And I don't even know if his record is winning overall. Like where those 9, I know for sure they are. And it could be because of his age. Could it be who he's playing with? And I think Dante Micheletti phenomenal roller. Like phenomenal. Like in the conversation. But if I had to pick one player that I would take out for you, it would be your 10th guy. It'd be for Dante. I just think that there's something that you bring to the game that Dante Micheletti doesn't have today. And once he starts playing Bocce full time, because hopefully he does, because he's a superstar in the making, that he will have that. And that's that, that killer attitude at the end of games. And Dante just doesn't play enough in big tournaments that I've seen. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
I'm probably going to get a text from Braden right after and threatening.
I disagree with you, but that's cool. Like, yeah. So you're saying you're going to put me in the top 10. I'm not asking you where you would put me, but you would take out Dante Micheletti.
Yeah, I would take out Dante Micheletti. Yeah, I mean I just think Dante Micheletti is in a same, in a top tier, if you will, if we want to tier it up. But I would just, from a fear-wise standpoint, is like I'm geared up when I play against you. Like you make me want to be prepared to hit the ball over and over and over again. And I know Dante Micheletti can be phenomenal, but I would just put you ahead of him. That's just what it comes down to it. I just want to talk about these other top 10. Your top choice, Sean New. I think he's had tournaments this year where I've watched him where he would like balls back, even more so than maybe the year before. And what makes Sean so special, though, is not just his rolling ability. It's the fact that he can adapt to every court. He could have balls that he would like back, and he still puts a big ball in the next time. He has what I call BFBs. I think you guys call them something else, but like big fucking balls at the end of the game. Like when you get to game point and that roller puts the ball on the pill and that hitter has to hit, or if they miss, it's essentially like game over if like 1, 2, or 3 don't hit the ball. Sean New just has those over and over and over again.
I would say Sean New is probably the best shooting first roller that this game has too. People don't realize that about Sean. He can shoot.
Yeah,
he can shoot. He just don't have to.
Out of your list, so can Dante Micheletti and Pete for sure too. So
Matt Estes can too. Yeah. Pete definitely. You're right. Pete was probably the best shooter out of all the rollers, no doubt. I kind of didn't think about that, but Sean's right up there.
Yep. So played with Sean. He's not only a great roller, great teammate too. Like understands the game. And what Sean and the rest of these rollers have is the ability to be able to move the Paulino. You and I have talked about this just in between conversations ourselves. It's not just important on rolling great balls, but also understanding where does the other team not like it? Where are you able to have an advantage, whether it be playing the wall, playing deep middle, playing things short. And like if all things are set, like if both teams have all 8 talented people, I typically see the ball go deep middle. It doesn't matter because everyone's great, can play anywhere. So you put it deep and you try to bury one to make it a little bit harder for the hitter. But there is plenty of games where there is advantage to go left or right. Some people don't like throwing across their body. Some people like to use the wall. Some people don't. And I feel like all these rollers know how to move the Paulino as well as roll some big balls.
I agree. And I think the other thing too, and this can be a topic also at some point. There's a lot of arguments on what position is the most important. I'm not saying it because I'm a first roller. If you try, it's very hard for you to try to argue with me the first rolling isn't the most important position on the court. Outside of maybe the guy that has the last ball, which is generally speaking the second shooter, first rolling, it's the nuts, dude. Like, I mean, if you consistently put pressure and make them shoot, you giving yourself a chance to win more so than your first shooter hitting the first ball.
I think
So that's my
two different
opinion.
things. I'm most important is lead rolling. That's just even as a hitter, and I think
Mhm.
the most pressure is last ball. Whoever has the last ball has the most
That's a good
pressure.
point. I can agree. I can get down with that. Yes, I get down with that. Yeah,
All right, give me these
yeah.
honorable mentions. I'm going to tell you forgot then.
All right. So Timmy Wilson for sure. Um, who was? Jason Melarania. Anthony Mell, who started to play a lot of tournaments this year. He's played some pretty good bocce this year. Freddie, is it Slav? I forget his
Sablock.
last name.
Sablock?
Yes, all of it. Yes. Bubba, who has now moved on to lead rolling. I think this is his
So,
first year lead rolling, right?
yeah, just to give
But
names
Stephen
with
Fonte.
also location. So Timmy Wilson from Youngstown, Jason
Yep.
Mell, Anthony Mell, both from Cleveland. You have like 18 Mel
Correct.
Ragnos here.
Correct.
Freddie is from Farrell, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
And then Bubba and Fonte from Niles, Ohio, also named Steve.
Correct.
So from our
And then I
division.
got one more. That had to be mentioned is Billy Batters. Owns Smoke Shop. Mayfield was it Mayfield Smoke Shop, right?
Yep.
Yep. He owns Mayfield Smoke Shop. He also has a major this year. He won Molisani, some of the hardest rolling courts there are. He's up there, and at any point he can jump on that line. But those are the 10 that I would take and choose if I had to pick 10. Those are it.
I like it. Now, what I got some people that I think you forgot for sure. What do you think separates these next six from like would you say like where do you cut off the levels? Let me ask you this question. So, do you think like all top 10 are the same, or do you think that like after Nick Serra, there's a drop off to Chris Federico? Like, where do you have like the levels at? If you were doing a fantasy draft of
That's a really good question. I'm going to say that the guys I mentioned, honestly, and I guess there's an argument to be made for Dante not on, for this, but the guys I mentioned from a pure, they're probably the most consistent rollers that I've seen. And all these guys I've seen late in tournaments and have won in the past 2 years. So they're getting the nod. Plain and simple. Bubba, he's been deep in a lot of tournaments, hasn't won one. Has been close a few times, but all these guys I mentioned are big winners. And they've proven that they can win. So that's kind of where I am. Now, Dante Micheletti, and people might forget, beat us in Koppel when he was on my end. We lost the last game by 1 point. He beat
don't
us.
forget that. Yep.
Yeah, and I'm not afraid to admit it. He beat us then. But you're talking Sean New, Pete Mel, Matt Estes, Nick Serra, Russ, Chris. Those guys are there late all the time. All the time. Mason, he hasn't won anything. Don't know if it's his fault. I don't know if it's because he doesn't play enough, but I know he's a dog.
Well,
I've seen him roll.
He hasn't won in our circuit, but has he not won in theirs? Like, I don't know if he's won in Rome, like someone else.
Right. But those are the guys that I'm taking. There's also a couple guys from Molisani that play. You mainly only see them in Wycliffe or Molisani that are really good too. I can't even give them honorable mention because they don't play enough.
So I'm gonna give you one that you 100% forgot on this list that is in the top 10. Arguably in the top 10. I think so because of winning. So I'd probably knock down Mason as well. I'm pretty okay with your list. But this Bobby Gentile. Like, what more does Bobby Gentile have to do? Just keep winning?
You're wrong, and I'll tell you why in the next part.
Please tell me why I'm wrong. Please tell me why I'm wrong.
I will tell you you're wrong. Yeah.
Okay.
You ready to move on to the second rollers?
Oh, so you get to move
on? I mean, I told you I have 5 lists, buddy. You got to get on the same page as me, my man.
Okay.
You think I'm forgetting it?
I'll allow it.
You're tripping.
I'll allow it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right, here's some others I have. That's Bobby Gentiles from Youngstown. Here's some others. So I think that you should be mentioning, and if not, you're wrong. These people. So Brian Polance from Cleveland. I got Hunter. I think it's Scalietto. I don't remember how to pronounce his last name. Galero, maybe. He's from Detroit, so he also plays with. He's played with Jose before. Played in Palazzo. Pat Pezin from Canada. Ben Diaz Those are the people I believe you forgot that are all great rollers.
So I'll tell you what, I have a retort for that. Ben, I should have put Ben on the honorable mention. He's played some really good bocce the tournaments he's played. He can roll. He came second to us at Koppel. Ben Diaz, apologies that you're definitely one of them. What I'll say about Hunter, I've only seen him play one tournament, and it's in Detroit. He doesn't get on my list.
Yep.
I want to see what he can do in dirt courts. Period.
Fair enough.
I've seen him roll great in synthetics. I want to see it there. Also, you mentioned who was it? Pat Pezin.
Pat Pezin.
Brian Polance is another guy. I mean, if you're asking me who I would choose, I'm taking 14 of these guys before Brian Polance, and I've only watched him play a little bit, so maybe I don't have the knowledge. I did watch him in Wycliffe. Played okay. Played pretty decent. He played with Chmielewski and Mike. Yeah, I mean, I guess he could be in there. He did just win.
I think Brian's a great synthetic roller
what's
too.
It called?
I think Brian's a great synthetic player, synthetic roller, and that's why he won the ABC Open. Yeah.
I think that there can be also a separate, like, maybe discussion one day about players on synthetic and players on dirt, right? Because I would take probably 15 guys over Pat Pezin on dirt. Synthetics, I don't know. It's going to be tough, right? Like, yeah. Pat's a dog on synthetics, so it's a little bit different. But I'm thinking specifically, like, overall, these are the guys I'm taking.
I like it. You didn't talk about my brother, maybe because he just beats you.
Angelo's another one too. He also doesn't play a lot. He doesn't play a lot, but he's another one. He beat us at Farrell. He beat us in Farrell. Played really good. Yeah.
I always look whenever he throws a good ball. I always say bad ball, man. Just like got lucky. Got so lucky there.
Yeah.
you gotta fucking bust your brother's chops,
Right.
You do it to your brother Stewie too.
Yeah. The other thing too, real quick. I don't want to keep sticking in the first rollers. A lot of these rollers are also pretty decent game callers outside of Dante Micheletti. He don't call a game. Dom Aveni, I mean, I'd say Croce and Dennis are pretty much the ones that call the game there. Dom probably tries too much. But the outside of that, they're really good with, like, being the general after they roll their ball, being down the end of the court and letting the teams know. Like, that's a big part of it too.
I think
they're very good at that.
I think Estes doesn't call the game though either. I don't see him
calling the game. No, but he's pretty vocal. He knows what's going on. Like, he's got a good grasp on the game. It's not like he just rolls his ball and they tell him to get the fuck out of the way. I will tell
you, I think that one of the reasons why Estes has enjoyed so much success this year is because of now the new chemistry he has. And, it was interesting, like, watching him play with Dante and Gianni, which I think he probably feels like he has a louder voice than he did playing with Capogreco and Dante D'Alicio, which are much louder players. I think that I see him speak up a little bit more and say, like, whoa, Chiavetti, like, what dumbass shit are you trying to do here? Hit the ball 5 times for it to, like, work off this, like, crazy angle. And not that Dante Chiavetti doesn't know what he's doing, but Matt's, like, just a good, like, calming voice to the creativeness of Gianni and Chiavetti. And I think that's why they've enjoyed a lot of wins together.
Right. I agree. All right, so I'm going to move on to the second roller.
So that's what it is. That's the top 10 rollers. All right.
Yes, top 10 rollers.
What's next?
All right, second rollers. This is not a surprise. This is also probably undisputed. Like, you can't even argue it. It's Mike Triv. Okay, he's the best second roller the game has right now. Hard for anybody to argue with his success. Okay, he's got first in Wycliffe, first in Molisani, second in Rome. Okay, I mean, come on, it is what it is. My second will be Tony Melorano.
Mike Triv from Cleveland. Give us
Cleveland. Yeah, Mike Trevisano from Cleveland.
Yep.
Number 2, Tony Melorano, plays with CPF. He's from Cleveland. I have him number 2. That's generally the position he plays there. I know that CPF is notorious for. I mean, I've seen Tony Mel lead roll and lead hit on that team. It's the wildest thing I've ever seen. Yeah,
I think maybe the smartest thing you've done in this podcast history, it's 3 episodes in, is the fact that you didn't put Pete and Tony in the same list so you could rank one above the other. So I just have to say kudos to you for trying to convince yourself that Pete was a lead roller so you didn't have to put Tony
Well,
above
listen,
or
that can
below
be
him.
another discussion too. Like, where would some of these guys end up if they were second rollers? Where
I'm
would some of these second
100%. We're
rollers
gonna
end up
do a
in
lot
first?
of uncomfortable him or him,
Because listen, I'm
or
going to
her
tell
or
you
him.
right now. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now. And Mike Tribb would get mad at me all he wants to. Mike Tribb might be the best second roller out there, in my opinion. But he's gonna struggle to make the top 10 as a first roller, right? So that's just the facts. It is what it is. But second rollers, Mike Tribb, he's there. Like, I like him having the last ball if he's got a roller hit. He's my dude. Tony Melly's up there.
Fair enough.
Mike Robertson's number 3rd. Love Mike Robertson's game. Love it. He's my 3rd
too that can play like everywhere.
Yeah,
everywhere.
He just won. He literally won MBR as a lead hitter, but
and
that's
then
not his
the
position.
next tournament, he led roll.
Yeah,
he led roll in Butch's tournament. Stud.
I think his natural position though is roll 2, and he would probably tell you that it is. Number 4, here's your man, Bobby Gentile. I have him as the 2 roll. I don't know how you in the world you put him as the first roll when Matt Estes lead rolls on the team he plays with. So like that was a mistake on your part. Bad research. Bad research, bro. Bad research.
Listen, when you lose, you go home. When I lose, I stay around at these tournaments and I keep watching. And Bobby Gentile 100% has led roll for that team.
I'm sure he has.
At MVR. At MVR.
That's not their team, though. Bobby Gentile is the second roller on that team.
Okay. Fair enough. Like in the championship game, yes. But also, just like you and I can move Pete Meloragno wherever I want. Bobby Gentile led roll in MVR, got them to championship Saturday. End of story. Keep going.
Okay. Number 5, you're going to love this one. And I think some people will be shocked. Who am I going to say?
Number 5 here?
Yep, number 5. You're going to love it.
I'm going to love it.
Yep.
I don't know who you've totally got me confused.
Corey Whitway.
Stud.
Corey Whitway. I got it number 5, dude. He's a beast.
Say it, but I didn't want to be wrong. I didn't want to be embarrassed.
No, Corey Whitway. Corey Whitway, he's a beast, dude. He's a beast.
Dude, Witt's a stud. Stud.
He's one of them dudes. He's not fazed by the pressure. He loves the game. He don't care. Also, a little shout out to Corey Whitway. I didn't know this until like a couple months ago. I didn't know he was a power lifter back in the day.
So Lou Nacera and Corey Witt have state records in PA.
Right.
State records.
So we consider is Lou and Corey the strongest players in bocce? Probably.
Probably, but
probably.
I'd probably rather get in a fight with Corey than Tony Meloragno. So that's
okay. Fair enough.
So Corey's from Farrell, Pennsylvania, and Matt did a little shout out, asked me because I play with Corey pretty much all the time for a lot of the tournaments I travel with him. He's a stud.
Correct. Next, I got to do it. It might be a homer pick, but I have to do it. What's that?
Jimmy Pie?
Jimmy Paisano. I got him at number 6, dude. Listen, he's had an up and down year, okay? He's had his good moments and bad moments. If you get good Jimmy P, you're probably not going to lose the game. It's what it is. You have Sean rolling for you, Mike Pisano, Danny or Lou and behind him. Jimmy P is the reason they win or lose tournaments a lot of the time. Not kidding. He can be very good. Can also be very bad, but you know what? I trust Jimmy. He's been playing the game for longer than I even knew bocce existed. I'm going with Jimmy P 6th.
I played 2 tournaments with Jimmy, and my record's like 14-2. It's like I just win games with Jimmy. It's like crazy.
Right.
I'm
actually excited because I'm playing with Sean, Danny P, and Jimmy next week at VFW. I'm really excited about that.
Love it.
So I'm excited about that. All right. Next, I got. What's that?
Keep it going.
All right. Next, I got Bobby Middle. Okay. Came back from a 4 or 5 year hiatus. Won 4 tournaments this year. Wish he could have played better with us in Detroit. I digress. Still a beast. Bobby still got it. And he can do both very well. He's one of the best players that can actually do all of the above. Out there.
Bobby Middle's from Farrell, Pennsylvania, and if you haven't played around our area, Bobby also came from probably the greatest team of bocce, JJ's Lighthouse, which has more bocce wins, like over 100, more bocce wins than any of these other teams can even dream about.
Correct.
Also from Farrell.
Correct. Also, that's a shout out to Freddie too. Freddie is on his team. He was one of the guys on JJ's.
That's true. Yeah.
Great player. Great player. Next, this will also be a shock to people. I got the pleasure of playing against him 3 times this year. Another New York cat, Eddie Emanuel, Tino's father, correct?
Yeah.
He's a beast. Also another guy that can shoot and roll. I'm pretty sure he was 2 rolling. His son hits second. I love his game. And the best thing about him, he don't need to have a huddle in the middle of the court. When he knows what he needs to do, he just does it. Sometimes I turn to look, his ball's already released.
Listen,
I mean, it's unbelievable. I love it.
The game at Wycliffe, that is we have to, we'll talk about this game probably a bunch of times, but the game at Wycliffe, where you're playing against the Rome guys, and this is Tino, PL3, Eddie, and Nick Serra, like stud team, right?
Stud team, yeah.
They pumped Popio. They beat him 10-0 there. Like absolutely stomped him. Like their only loss going into you was against Jose and those guys, like which was nothing to scratch an eye about, right? And they play against you, and it comes down to game point where you already had a ball on there. You needed 2 to go out, and he had a ball back, and Paul and those guys were thinking about hitting that ball out for it to be, maybe we'll get a break on the Paulino. Maybe you hit it out clean. You already had a point, and you needed to roll in for 2. And they went out to go look at that ball. And before they even looked back at Eddie and said, you could hit or you could roll here, Eddie's ball was already out of his hands and like 3 inches away from the Paulino.
Right.
3 inches. Now Cap rolls like the sickest ball in bocce to beat that.
It's one of the greatest rolls in bocce. It was unbelievable.
The sequence though, and the pressure that the pressure that Eddie had to put a good ball there is just like crazy.
And they wanted him to shoot, and he just got up, he just rolled it casually, like nothing was going on, and buried it. And then when he found out he lost because Anthony beat it, he didn't know what hit him. So Eddie's up there. He's my man.
Stud. Keep going. 9.
Yeah. All right. Next, I have to do it. It's Dante Delicio. Now, Dante has taken a lot of shit this year, for sure. But he's also had some tragedy. I wouldn't say necessarily tragedy, but he's had a lot of personal things going on. Again, hopefully his wife is good and in good health. I got to see her at MVR. She's doing great. That probably kind of had something to do with the way he played some of the tournaments. But early in the year, man, we beat Jose and stuff. We couldn't have done it without him. When he's on his game, he's one of the best 2 rollers there is.
Agreed.
So he's on the list.
I got Rome, and then I got for Eddie, by the way, and then Youngstown for Dante Delicio. And
Dante Delicio.
I do want to mention that I think that Dante Delicio and like Pet Peasant, if you had to put like 2 players that have had the hardest job in bocce, it's been those 2. Like they're like the embattled. They're like the embattled player where it's like everyone knows, like Dante knows, all the eyes are on me. Everyone's wondering like if I could be able to perform this tournament. They won it without me. Like, of course, like that plays in anyone's head. Like it has to play in anyone's head. If you play on a team and the team gets a 4th guy to go with, it takes a lot of assurance. I think ABV has that assurance, right? But BSB does not. Where it's like, well, of course, that's my team. Where for Dante Delicio has to go watch you guys win with Michael Heath and then Paisano and then have to then go step in again to go play, knowing that everybody just watched that live stream and is watching again. And I think that he's handled that pressure as well as anyone can. And he played great in really big moments. And I thought personally, again, you could love or hate Dante on your team. I think that people will have opinions of this. I thought Dante played phenomenal Wycliffe, and if he didn't tell Capogreco to not emotionally shoot a ball against ABV and to roll,
we probably lost.
Would have lost. So
listen, Dante,
that was the rest of the game is because of Dante.
That was the best tournament he played all year. He was unbelievable. Dante was unbelievable in Wycliffe, no doubt about it. He deserves to be on the list. He is top 10. I would try to find somebody else that's better that's not already playing with the team, who am I going to get to replace? It's hard. It's almost impossible. And then I kind of flip flop between these two, and I could be missing somebody. This guy doesn't get enough love because he's fairly quiet. Levi Policaro. Got to put him on the list, okay? He's a Koppel OG. He's a legend. He's probably one of the best Koppel one-on-one players that place has ever seen. There's actually a really funny exchange between him and Jimmy at the club last night. I don't necessarily want to divulge that, but Levi did a little bit of a flex, even though I have Jimmy higher than him. Levi deserves to get the nod. He's a great two-way player. He can shoot and he can roll. And when you see him when he does play in Wycliffe with some guys he's never really played before, generally he shows out and he's probably the best player on the team. So I'm giving him the nod.
So, one thing about Levi that I love, and I think all these players have, like that you just did with the 2-roll, they need to be able to all hit in a big moment. And that's hard because, like, 9 balls out of 10 or, 19 out of 20, they're rolling the ball. Then all of a sudden they have to hit in a big moment, and all of them can. They have no problem stepping up and making the big hit.
Yeah, everybody on my list, if you notice, can shoot the ball.
Can shoot the ball.
They can shoot a ball.
And you have to in our area. So, like, maybe someone that's not from our area can say, like, oh, my second roller's, like, not 100% of the time rolling. No, it's not the case in ours. There's a lot of times where we're shooting 3. Could only be like 20% of the time, 30% of the time, but it's still a lot of times that we're shooting 3. You also have to be able to, in back wall dead, be able to knock a ball down sometimes, and all these guys can. And then they all can be able to play off the back wall, which is a hard skill too. Be able to hit 2 walls, be able to have side walls, be able to go against the back wall and hit a spot. But Levi, one of the things that he has special too, and I know Jimmy Pie has this, and I've seen Corey be able to do this too. Maybe selfishly because I get to see him all the time, is just being able to hit backhanded and overhanded, and to be able to have both in your repertoire, whether it is going off the back wall or rather than being able to stick a ball. And Levi being able to hit the ball underhand can sometimes do something special with the ball, like putting another ball back so he doesn't stick it and give him a chance for Bill, or be able to bring something in the back too. So that is a special skill to be able to have.
Yes, I do have 3 gentlemen that I have on the honorable mention.
Bring them out.
And Mike Augusto. Don't see him a lot. He is a stud. He doesn't play a lot. I see him at Wycliffe, and I seen him at Rome, and I seen him at Lockport. He single-handedly, in that game when we played him in Lockport, was the reason why they probably could have or should have beat us, especially the second game. He was an animal. I mean, he beat every freaking ball. Like 3 inches, he beat it. He's an animal. Again, it's hard. Like, if he played on the circuit in general, like out here in Ohio, where would he be ranked? I'm probably taking him over a lot of these dudes. Like, I'm just, it is what it is. Just from what I've seen from him. But because he doesn't play a lot, I got to kind of take him off the list. He wouldn't be my first 10 choices, but he's up there. Mike Verbata, it's like automatic. He has to be mentioned. I mean, he plays with ABV. He's got 7 major championships. Like, he might listen. I know he hasn't played great this year. He probably would agree with you. He's still Mike Verbata. He's still part of ABV. It's part of the reason why they won a lot. It is what it is. And then the other one, I got to mention him, PJ Micheletti. PJ Micheletti had a bit of a resurgence this year. He's played really, really well. Again, if I'm ranking the 10, I'm still taking those 10 over PJ. But at any point this year, PJ could easily jump into that list. And I mean easily. He's been playing really well, and he beat us in Koppel, too. He's another one. Him and his son beat us in Koppel. So, like, got to give him the love and respect. So those are my 3 honorable mentions for second rollers.
So PJ as well. I know I just talked about this with Sean, but PJ's like an incredible teammate. Like, just an incredible guy. Like, that is somebody you want to go into the foxhole with. So, like, I played league in one tournament with him, and we didn't get the result, of course. If you don't win, you don't get the result that you want to in the tournament. But PJ is just an incredible teammate. He picks you up. Yep. He has your back. He takes ownership of his ball. He takes ownership of the game.
He does. He has incredible passion for the game. That's one of the things I love about him.
So easy to play with.
Agreed.
So I just want to kind of tie a bow on a couple rollers that I thought about, and then one that you just egregiously missed right here. And the one that I'm gonna have to say, like for sure, 100% you missed is Nick Capogreco, and so you're just wrong by missing him. So I don't know where you want to put him, but Nick
You know what?
Capogreco's
You know
a
what, Danny?
stud.
Nick Capogreco, you're right. I didn't think of him, and he would be on my honorable mention. He's one of the guys that could easily jump in that list. But I'm taking the 10 other dudes over him right now. Just on pure experience alone, I'm taking those 10 guys before him. But he's definitely in that conversation. Yes.
I'm fine with you doing that. I'm just taking Nick pretty high. I'm playing with Nick.
Sure. I get it. Listen, I get it. I can't argue that with you.
Yep. And just like another roller that we forgot, I think that I forgot. I don't want to say you forgot. I forgot because you had a chance to write this down. Is just Russell Johnson from Rome too, stud. Just I've seen him lead point his butt off and just play phenomenal in there. He had a second point a lot of times when he played with Eric in the 2-man. They were like going back and forth.
Yep.
But
he did.
Russ Johnson's he's a stud. And then,
again, that's another dude I don't know enough about. He's not around as much. I know he wants to. He's one hell of a guy for sure. So like he gets points in my book for that. I haven't seen him play enough, so I can't really, and I don't see him late enough in the tournaments I am in for me to really catch, get an eye on him. So.
And I just want to do
I can't argue with that.
Another shout out. You might not know this player, but I know he's good. And we sometimes battle. We have conversations about PRV, about synthetics and short court bocce that I disagree with, but he's just a phenomenal synthetic roller. And that's Alan Knox out of California. And he's won that Vegas tournament a bunch of times. You maybe saw him. He played with BBN in the last tournament. And the guy is I call him a psycho too. He's a psycho stud. Like he wants to win. He's thinking about it. He's thinking about rolling all the time, and he values the opportunity to be able to roll against the best players.
Right. Another guy too that like you could mention, Maurizio, is it Gianpaolo? Is that how you say his last name? But again, he doesn't get to be on this list. And I'm being honest, and Maurizio, I don't care if you don't like it. He don't play on dirt. He don't play on dirt courts. I can't. It's hard for me to. If we're talking synthetics, got to put Maurizio up there. He's a dog, right? No doubt. He don't play dirts. He'll tell you he don't play dirts. Could he figure it out? I'm sure he could. If he doesn't play, he can't get on the list. Just what it is.
You got to be able to. Yep. For you got to be able to play all types of courts in all situations to be able to be on these lists.
Okay.
All right, so we got top 10 lead rollers, top 10 second rollers, according to Matt Taylor. This is Respect the Lines, top 10 of the first two positions. I mean, these are some spicy takes. I think, Matt, we should let some people comment on these. Let us know what they think. And then I think we I'm hoping
too that New York can get out here that, Mason, Augusto, Eddie are getting some love in these because they deserve it.
Yeah, we got a couple New Yorkers that you had mentioned that you get to see all the time. I think some of these guys that play synthetics, I think even Maurizio, it was really cool watching him come over to Youngstown and play in Diane's tournament, and make a little bit of run at St. Anthony's. Like the best bocce players want to be the best bocce players everywhere. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that he came and did that.
Yeah, he played with your boy, Mark Nardone, BSB Jr.
Ah. How'd they do?
They did pretty well. I mean, I knocked them out.
Right. Shocker. Okay.
But they played pretty good. He had like this badass hit too. Maurizio did like at the end where it was like same thing like Eddie. Like Nardone was looking over, was like, what should we do? Should we hit the ball or hit the pill? And Maurizio had already smacked the pill and moved it to the back wall. I was like, there's free on you, buddy. Like,
Mauricio's the dog for sure. Much respect, Mauricio.
Yep. All right, so lot of comments. I'm sure we're gonna get on this one, so we're gonna post this one, and then we're gonna come back at you later with the top 10 shooters, number 1 shooters, and top 10 number 2 shooters. But rolling's so important. Rolling's what with chips.
Yep.
We got Respect the Line. Thank you very much, everyone. Talk to you soon.